Hi guys, welcome to another fabulous video. You are Stampin' with Faith. I am Faith Steinberg, Independent Stampin' App Demonstrator. I'm so happy to be bringing you this series. This is January of 2021 as I am recording this. This is the Jar of Flowers stamp set. This is our week number 2, card number 2 in the series. So I'm going to set our stamp set aside. We're going to be using, well, I'll just show you here, the sunflowers I'm sorry, no, I do apologize. We're going to be using the bouquet here in the center, this middle one next to the large jar. My apologies. So I've started our prep work ahead of time just to save us time. This piece measures 8.5 by 8.5 square. It is scored at 4 1/4. And then on the other side, it's scored at 2 3/4 and 5 3/4. I've gone ahead and removed the top 2 outer rectangles. And I've also cut a 2" by 3" little window, if you will, out of this section. So let's go ahead and get started. We have 2 pieces of basic white that are measuring 2.5. One is 2.5 by 4. One is 2.5 by 4 1/4. You want to pull out the 4 1/4 piece first. We're going to stamp on it. So let's go ahead and do that. All right. And then you want to say, Faith is awesome. Faith is awesome. Faith is awesome. Before you lift that up, always make sure you don't get in a hurry. You want to make sure you give enough time for your paper to drink up that ink. Okay, that's all the stamping we're going to need to do for this one. I am going to reach over into the filing cabinet because we do need a window sheet for this. So I apologize. I had to scrap the first one I had, so let me just grab a clean one. I've already got them pre-cut. And we'll put that back in there. And there we go. Okay. Now we're going to pull out, we will need black Stays On ink for that. So while I ink this up, I'm just going to stamp here on the window sheet. So I'm going to ink up my stamp. Here, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to stamp right in the center. This is just cut 5 1/4 by 4. This actually has even a tear in the top of it, so it's not going to matter. We're going to cut it all down. So I'm going to rub it well. That Stays On ink is going to want to stick, so we're going to peel back carefully that image. And as you see, I'm going to move my stamp out of the way here. Our image colored in perfectly. And now what we are going to do before we go any further is we're going to put a strip of foam, one of the adhesive foam strips right down along the bottom. Don't remove that release paper. We're actually going to leave it there. Go ahead and spend some time. I'm going to use watercolor pencils. So we are going to spend some time coloring in our flowers. I'm just going to do some really quick scribbling because we'll blend it all together with either the water painter or the blender pen will work in that situation. Got to sharpen this guy. And let's do orange. I like orange. Okay, I'm going to do a little crushed curry in the center, but do it darker. Let's see, this flower here. Let's do some green. Again, you see how fast this goes. Just coloring in. I'm scribbling actually. Not being precise or exact at all. We're going to give some of that eucalyptus a little color. Not being deliberate, just lightly. All right, now here comes the magic. I'm going to use an aqua painter. This is only half the magic. So this is a water painter. It is available in our annual catalog. So it contains water inside the tube. And all I'm doing is using it just like I would the colored pencil, but just with a lot lighter pressure. So I'm just kind of letting, it has a bead of water at the end because this isn't the first time I've used this. So then all I'm doing is letting that bead of water pool up onto the flower, and then I'm just pushing it around. So you can squeeze the tube just a little to get more water to the surface. You can even put just a drop, if you need to, of water on your block, onto a blank acrylic block, and use that to kind of push. So if I take a blank block, I'm going to put a drop of water, and then all I'm doing is picking up that drop of water and pushing it around on that card. I didn't use any fancy paper. This is just basic white. I did not use watercolor paper here, although you certainly could if you were going to watercolor. I'm going to stop with the water painter. I'm going to switch to my blender pen. Always check to make sure it's clean. And then I'm just going to use that on my greens. So all of my leaves, and I'm just pushing that around. This I didn't even color, but I still have color left on my blender pen, so I'm just going to pick that up, and then I'm going to pick up those stems here. Okay, I like it. I think I'm just going to leave it as that is. I will sharpen all my pencils later. Always put things away as you work. It makes working, for me, it makes working so much easier. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to run a bead of adhesive right across that top line. Okay, and then we are going to now line up our floral image. Okay, I don't want it stuck down yet. Okay, no, it doesn't want to cooperate. All right. You got to hold the top of it up in the air. See how I'm holding this up at a 90-degree angle? You got to hold the top of it until you get it all situated, and then you burnish it down. I'm not worried about this line. It's going to get covered up later. It's not going to hurt anything. And if I ever send somebody a card and there's a mistake in there, and I say this all the time, and that person sends me a card, sends that card back and says they can't accept it because it's not good enough to them, then they're just never going to get a card from me again. I don't buy store-bought cards ever, so this is it. This is what I do every day. All right, we're just trimming that acetate out around that basic white. Put our scissors away. Pick up our rubbish. That in the receptacle. Okay, so here's what we've got so far. We've got our 2.5 by 4 1/4 basic white. We've stamped it and colored it, but look how much bolder that color looks with that window sheet on there. So I said, didn't matter if we were perfect. All right, now we're going to take our basic white layer that's 2.5 by 4. We're going to put some adhesive on there. And then we're going to layer that here in the middle. Perfect. I went all the way up against that score line, so it's still going to fold because we're not covering the score line. We're just barely up close to it. The sides are going to be covered because we didn't cut out this whole section. And now we're going to add one more strip, and I'll show you how I did that. We're going to grab another strip of foam tape. I'm not going all the way on this piece quite to the edge. And then now we are going to fold that up. We've already scored all of that with our, or burnished it with our bone folder. I'm going to run a bead of adhesive along this edge, and then we're going to fold them in. Now, because of the way we scored everything, 2 3/4 and 5 3/4, when we fold this over, everything just fits snugly, and this is not all the way to this edge just yet. So now here we have our piece. Now what we're going to do is we're going to separate our 2 layers, and I did it wrong. I'm sorry, you guys. Give me just a second. Let me see if it'll open up. If not, yeah, looks like we're going to be okay. I put the foam strip on the front, and it's got to go on the back. Okay, we're good there. Foam strips go in right back here on the back side of that. Still on the inside, but just on the back of that middle piece. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to separate our layers, creating that V. And then we're going to pinch this from the sides, creating a little pocket. And we're going to slide that down in just a little bit. And then we're going to flip it so that this goes in front of that middle piece. There we go. We got it in there. And now you just shimmy it down. Don't go all the way just yet, because now you have your circle tab punch is what I used. I am going to use my ultra fine permanent Sharpie. I'm using a black one. You can use any color you want. I just thought this looked really, really good in that black and white theme. I'm going to reach into my drawer. I'm going to find a, let's do a rhinestone. I just happen to have a large rhinestone right here. I'm just going to add a rhinestone. That just brings attention to that spot. If you have the black rhinestones, that would be really, really good right here. Okay, so now I'm going to, this is sticker paper that I've used with the circle tab punch. So I'm just removing that release paper from the back of the sticker. And then I'm going to put this right here in the middle. Now, if you're concerned with your adhesive showing on this strip, then let's grab one of our, I always keep a supply of little white scraps on my desk. Not all of my white scraps are there, but just a few. Let's see if this one's long enough. Oh, and it is perfect. We may have to do some trimming at the end, but I am just going to run a strip of adhesive along that. That right along there. That's going to cover all of our glue bits, so nothing's going to show. Okay, trim off the excess because otherwise it won't slide in and out. And then turn that over, and then here you go. Look at that. You have your card tucked in there. And then when you pull that out, magic will reveal itself and it colors itself in. And then your foam tape prevents it from pulling all the way out. So I love it. So if you have any other questions, or you need to look me up, or you want to join that Thursday evening class, absolutely come and join me. We are there Thursdays on a private meeting room at 7 p.m. Central Time. So you can reach me at stampinwithfaith@yahoo.com. I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.